On the hunt for comfortable, timeless Western boots? You already know the best place to shop for quality boots is at your local Tacova store. So stop by Tacova's Nashville, at the Mall at Green Hills, or on Broadway by Ryman Auditorium. That's right, you now have 2 locations to choose from. Grab a cold one as you shop and get fitted by a pro. Tacova's Nashville is at your service, and you can find your perfectly fitted dream boots with the help of their expert staff. Everyone will be asking where you got your sick new boots, but I won't be asking because I know they must be Tacova's. That's TECOVAS.com. Don't go gently, y'all. Today on CityCast Nashville, I'm here with Dicey Wildman, the director of Defiant Film Festival, which is coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday. That's the 16th and 17th of August at Studio 615 in East Nashville. We're going to talk about some of the trends she's noticed in this year's films and how Nashville filmmakers can get involved with the festival. CityCast Nashville is presented by our exclusive launch sponsor, Tacovas. It's August 12th. I'm Grace Fuse, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Thanks so much for being here, Dicey. So the Defy Film Festival celebrates unconventional films. How did it get started?
Yeah, we started, my partner Billy and I started the Defy Film Festival because we're filmmakers, and we were attending a lot of festivals where we felt like maybe there wasn't as much focus on the films themselves, and we just really wanted to make something that was all about celebrating film, but also because the Nashville Film Festival is here and it is an incredible legacy 9-day-long film festival.
Yeah.
It allowed us to kind of operate in the shadows in a kind of fun way where we really are looking for different kinds of stuff. We want, we call it Defy for a reason, and we want work that feels a little bit defiant and feels a little bit on the fringe. We always have quite a large selection of experimental work, but in general, we're just looking for things that are trying something new. Whatever the fresh take that's happening, then it's going to go on the list. I think it has to do with the fact that we just are obsessed with film.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite parts about running this festival that I just get to, from pretty much like January through June, I'm just like watching the weirdest, craziest things that fringe artists are making across the world. And that is so exciting to me. I'm like, you have got to see this weird thing that somebody made out of France. And so creating an opportunity to really celebrate that is important to me. Another thing that we do that is definitely unusual is while we do have a number of awards that we offer, we do not have an award ceremony at the event itself. We don't announce any nominations at the event or prior to the event. It's really important to us that all the films are on a pretty even playing field because we wouldn't have them if we didn't love them.
Yeah.
We're just a day-and-a-half festival. So if you've made it to those 11 screenings, it means that we really care about the work. And I hope that comes through.
What films are you really looking forward to this year?
Yeah, we have some really excellent stuff this year. We have a lot of local films, a lot of Nashville filmmakers, which is just such an awesome thing to see. There's so much talent here in Nashville, and getting to point a little spotlight on those always feels really good. We have 2 Nashville features happening on Saturday afternoon. One is called Jeffrey's Hell by a local filmmaker named Aaron Irons, and he is so talented. This is actually a sequel to a film that he showed with us last year, maybe 2 years ago, called Chest. And when I heard he was making a sequel to his super low budget found footage horror film, I was like, Aaron, are you sure about this? And I am so glad he proceeded with it. It's so much fun. It's so excellent. It feels like a real level up as a sophomore feature. I'm so excited we get to show that.
Cool.
And then right after that, in the same Bain Theater, we're showing a film by a formerly local filmmaker. She's moved to LA since, but it feels like a prodigal son homecoming. Her name is Heather Leroy, and her film is called My Best Friend Depression. And this is a real tour de force. She's been working on this film for such a long time, and it's really personal, but also just funny and odd. And I'm so excited to get to show it to people and a friendly audience of her, a lot of local actors who are in it. And it's just going to be a really good feeling, I think.
Okay, so you talked about how you don't have an award ceremony during the actual festival, but can you tell me a little bit about the Mo Award?
Absolutely. So Mo is my mom. Her name is Maureen, and she loved the festival so much. She was always there first thing in the morning. She would dance all night long. She would always go to the after parties. And she just really like loved art and the opportunity to witness experimentation and be with friends in this kind of super social, but also kind of reverent space, especially if there was tequila involved. So she passed away in 2023, and we immediately made this award for her, which comes with a $500 grant for the filmmaker, and really is just intended to go to a film that my dad and I think that she would have really liked.
That's heartwarming. I love that so much. How does this Defy Film Festival impact the local community and like the broader film industry, do you think?
My hope is that, on the smallest scale, creating an opportunity for international films to come to East Nashville and be seen on a big screen. We have filmmakers travel here from other countries to get to talk about their film. And that just feels like such an awesome opportunity for local creatives of any kind, or just cinephiles. We also really prioritize our lobby space, by which I mean we really want that to feel like a place where you can buy a weekend pass and hang out all weekend and have some snacks and have some cocktails and eat something from a food truck, and really intend to like run into friends and have conversations about the thing you just saw. So I hope that it's also fostering a lot of communication there. And then, like I said, we do have a lot of local films this year. And one thing that I love and try to talk about as much as possible is Aaron Irons, who I mentioned a minute ago. He showed his previous feature, Chest, with us, and he said in the Q&A that he and his producer were standing outside of Defy a couple years prior, and they said, I want to make a film that deserves to be here. And so then they made this incredible feature film, and he's gone all over the world with it. And I hope to just be inspiring. I know I'm really inspired by the fest, and I hope other people get inspired by it as well.
Do you have any like favorite memories from past years where you were just like, this is the point?
So many, actually. Yeah. One thing that ties into this year again is in our first year, we had a documentary about local drag culture and kind of like outsider drag culture in Brooklyn.
Cool.
And we had the filmmaker come and talk about that. It was so excellent, but it felt like a really excellent opportunity to partner with the local community. So we brought in a local drag queen named Veronica Electronica, and she put on an excellent show. And we're actually having her back again this year to do a drag show on Friday night as our after party. We have a feature film called Thruple, which is a queer rom-com, and it's so cute and so sweet. And then we're going straight into that, from that into this drag show that I'm really, really excited to be able to offer. Obviously, Nashville and Tennessee has had a very complicated relationship with drag recently, and it has recently become illegal again to do based on some kind of tricky guidelines around things that are harmful to minors. But we obviously do not agree with that. And our event is 18 and over, but we are really excited to be able to throw a little bit of love towards the drag community again this year.
Yeah, I know those new regulations are confusing and weird and disappointing.
Yes.
And we'll definitely keep talking about it on the podcast. So if listeners are confused by that, we'll definitely talk about it.
Disappointing is exactly the word. I feel so embarrassed to be from a place that is stifling any kind of creativity, let alone that.
Yeah, 100%. You organize the schedule in a super creative way. Can you tell us about that?
Billy, who is our senior programmer, treats every single short film block like a mixtape and really thinks about what that experience is going to be like to sit through all of those films. And when are you going to get a little antsy, and when are you going to get really gratified by some great surprise? So it's fun to watch people go through that and appreciate it. We have some really fun categories, though, this year, and I'm excited to see how people react to those. One is we always have a block of short comedy films, but this year we are doing absurdist comedy. When we get to see so many films that people are making, it kind of becomes a finger on the pulse of what's kind of brewing. And I've observed in the past that we'll see things a little bit before they become mainstream. So you can kind of vibe out like, ooh, I think this is going to be something that we're going to see more of. I've been seeing a lot of things I'm calling a post Shape of Water universe, where there's a lot of fish people, which is a very interesting trend.
Oh my gosh.
I've also been, there's been a lot of absurdism. And I think in pop culture in general, there's a lot of absurdism, which makes sense with where we are in this strange historical moment.
Yeah.
But, absurdism tends to thrive in moments of unease, of every kind. And so it feels so apropos that this year we've got this incredible block of just the weirdest, oddest, absurdest, excellent comedies. I'm really excited about that.
That makes complete sense. I understand going to absurdism in such a crazy, absurd time.
Right? If nothing makes sense, then why try?
Yeah, just make it not make sense. That's totally cool. And also makes a lot of sense that films that are like defiant in nature would be at the beginning of a wave of maybe things becoming more mainstream.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick little break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about aspiring filmmakers and maybe how they could become involved in the film festival. I'm here with Dicey Wildman, the director of Defy Film Festival. For Nashville filmmakers who are listening to this, what advice would you give to someone who wants to see their work at the festival?
My advice to anybody creative is just to be in as many creative environments as possible. I feel like there's such an impulse to kind of huddle up and only listen to your own things and only be inspired by your own past work. That's just not a door that I think is a good idea to shut. And so I think one thing that Defy offers, as well as any art show, any festival, any, puppet show or experimental ambient music experience, anything, I think just being in a creative environment and seeing what is inspiring other people, even if it's not your medium, even if it's not your jam, and you're like, honestly, didn't enjoy that. I think it massages your brain into being open to different opportunities. And so I think that is one of the most important things about being creative and being inspired and getting to that point of really not making work that feels like everyone else is making it, work that feels a little bit more defiant. So I think definitely absorbing as much art as possible. But then in terms of the second part of your question, and specifically how we pick films, we have a pretty rigorous process of pre-screeners that we train to understand what we're looking for. And anything that they think is at all a possibility that we might like gets passed on to Billy and I. And we have a small team of senior programmers that, we just all love films and we go really analog with it. Yeah. And every film gets a little card and we spread it on this huge table.
I love
and we
that.
all kind of vote. We have our favorites. We get really angry. And it's just like literally the best time ever. I love it so much. But it means we really get to kind of advocate for certain films that we, just get in our brains. And it's a really fun process.
How do you train the pre-screeners?
So it's definitely tricky. A lot of it comes down to making sure that those people are able to see what we've done in the past. So we hope to use pre-screeners that have been to the festival and kind of know a little bit of what our specific angle on all of this is. And then there's definitely some work to see what their answers are and kind of go in and say, oh, we want to see that kind of thing, and some gentle encouragement in one direction or the other. But we also have really great support staff, specifically one incredible filmmaker in town who actually has a short film with us. His name's Kevin Allen. He has a short film called The Lives of Counters. And but he's been really, really helpful to go through. And he's a film critic, he loves film, and he's been really diligent to make sure that nothing really special has slipped through the cracks. And we're very lucky to have him.
And that makes a lot of sense that you would want people to look at the past, but also need some coaching in terms of what might be the future kind of vibe of the festival.
Exactly. Yeah. It's always a little to be determined. Billy's very fond of saying that the way that we program is similar to a kind of farm to table meal approach, where if your garden just has a lot of asparagus in it, then we're going to program asparagus. And if we get a bunch of Iranian cinema, then there's going to be a little Iranian cinema block. And if we get a bunch of incredible mysteries, then maybe we'll make a mystery block one of these days.
If somebody is listening to this and they're like, man, I want to watch a lot of films and be a pre-screener, how do they get involved in that?
Oh, that's a great question. We are always looking for new pre-screeners. So I love that. If you're lucky enough to come to the festival, just come find me and I will give you the heads up. But, we also have pre-screeners that don't live here who just love films. And so anybody can email me at contact@defiantfilmfestival.com. And we are always looking for new people. It's a big job, but it's a really interesting opportunity to just peek into fringe art.
In the future, is there anything that you want to see more of in terms of topics or genres?
I'm really interested in people who are playing with structure. People, I think in general, structure is really important, particularly in feature films. But when you can be creative with that, I think that is one of the most exciting things. On a little bit more of a personal level, I love horror films. We have films of all kinds of genres in our festival. We love all films. I love horror films. And I'm looking in horror in general to see more of a turn towards nightmares and a little bit less of a turn towards scariness, if that makes sense.
Love that.
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone's out there, make me a nightmare.
Fun fact about me is I have chronic nightmares, and I also love horror movies.
Oh my gosh, like what kind?
Oh, what kind? The recurring one is either that I'm in an elevator that has no walls, and it's kind of I'm kind of on a platform that's moving around, and I feel like I'm gonna fall out of the elevator. Don't know what elevator did that to me in the first place, but
no, that's super gross. My stomach hated that. Yeah.
Or it's like a very absurd. I am escaping, like I'm in a group of people that is imprisoned and I'm trying to escape so I can get all of them out. And there's like a really absurd obstacle course chase scene.
Oh my gosh. You have that regularly?
Regularly.
That's so
at
strange.
least once a week.
Oh my gosh.
Absurd. I talk in my sleep a lot in a confusing way. But I absolutely love that. And honestly, maybe I'll make a film. That's
Oh, please
fun.
do. I would
Not
love
that I'm
that.
prepared to do that. But if anybody wants to make my nightmares reality, absolutely let me know. Okay, so if people are going to the film festival and they want to get involved and maybe they just want to like say hi to you, look out for the cutie patootie with the pink hair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. This was excellent. And I really appreciate you helping us get the word out.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. And let us know if you go to Defy Film Festival. We want to hear what your favorite film was at nashville@citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news around the city. Bye!